Hey, ya hosers, May Bowen here, and we are doing a show tonight on bad actors. Not the bad actor that's in the thumbnail, we just thought that would be funny to have, but on bad actors in different communities who can harm their community by their bad actions. One particular person of recent note comes to mind, but we have some other advantage. We have some other I am really tired. We have some other examples as well. So, um, why don't you go ahead and start, Jenny?
Yeah. Well, why don't we get everyone to introduce themselves first? So,
Yes, absolutely. Sorry, I've
and
had a rough day.
we'll start off with Navadia. Please.
Hi, my name is Navadia, previously known as Godless Australian. I am doing a YouTube channel just talking about, things that are happening in Australia, try to get our voices out there because there's not a lot of us, are there, Jenny? So I'm just trying, so that's basically who I am. I'm also talking a little bit about science because I'm also a nerd. So yeah, come and check out my channel.
Thanks. And Progressive Liberal.
That's me. Hi, I'm Ethan,
It's you.
and I'm a progressive liberal. I have a YouTube channel on politics and activism and Star Trek. And Nervardia was on my show once, and May Bowen was on my show once, and Jenny still
I feel
needs to
left out.
come. Like, I need to
I
talk to
come
the
off
rest of you too. And I do that live show 3 nights a week with Mikey Famine. It's called The After Show. You should come check it out. It's pretty fun.
Cool. And Godless Cranium.
Hey, my name's Mike. I go by Godless Cranium on YouTube. I have my own YouTube channel called Godless Cranium, and I also have a second channel called Alignment Unknown where I play D&D. So come check those out if you want.
Awesome. And Ansgar.
Yeah, I'm Onsgar. Think OnStar with a G, Onsgar. And I don't know. I do have a YouTube channel, but mostly I talk about the graphic novel that my wife and I are writing, and whatever nerdy crap happens to be happening in the world at the time. But on Twitter, I talk about all kinds of stuff from just, I don't know, just whatever happens to come across my feed, whether it be climate change or activism or whatever. So, yeah, I mean, look me up on Twitter if you want.
And you draw
Awesome.
shit. You forgot you
Oh,
draw shit.
yes, I do draw stuff. I draw a lot of stuff. In fact, I've done a few things for a few YouTubers here and there. So, yeah, I draw stuff. Look at my stuff I draw.
Good stuff.
Cool. Awesome, everyone. Links will be down in the description. They're probably not there at the moment because we're not that organized this morning.
Or this evening.
Or this evening. Yeah.
Or whatever time it is.
Through the rest of you.
Insert appropriate time of day here.
Yeah, more appropriate time of day. I don't know. Maybe it is for you. It's 8 o'clock for me.
I mean, you guys also walk around upside down all the time. So, I mean,
Yeah.
And we have imaginary time zones as well. So
right, exactly.
Yeah, we're
Yeah, I
cryptids.
mean, Sir Sanford Fleming, who lived here for a long time, didn't just made up time zones because, yes,
He worked for NASA, so
of course he did.
yeah,
yeah.
makes
Yeah.
perfect sense now.
Okay.
Well, I certainly know how to end a conversation, don't I? Wow.
Sorry
That
about
was
that.
brilliant of me.
I'm just
Yep.
messaging back to Shannon. She only
And there
just
you go.
got
Thanks
back
for
and got
watching, everybody, I guess.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, to the after
I
show.
just got a
No.
message back
Oh.
from Shannon. She just got it. She's only just got in a half an hour or so ago and just got her kid to bed. So
Okay.
yeah, she's done, and she said hi to everybody. Loves us all. And have a good show. So
Yeah.
She's the best.
Really, because I'm here. She just wants to avoid me.
That's right. That's what it is.
Probably, yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if she'll jump up in the chat. She might, but she's not coming on. So
Okay.
That's
So-
right. Okay, so bad actors. Yeah. main idea for this show came about because of the lovely Jessica Yaniv.
Lovely.
Lovely, yeah. I'm not being nice there. I'm being way too nice there. It's all right, Shannon. We love you.
It's all right, Shannon. Go to sleep.
Yeah.
Have a good rest.
Yeah, I should probably be doing that, but I'm here.
You have to be here. Shannon doesn't.
Exactly. I run the show.
Yep. Yeah, you're responsible. If it all goes to hell, it's your fault.
Exactly. Oh no. No pressure, eh?
You're the bad actor if it all goes to hell.
Right.
No.
Where's Nicholas Cage?
I'm pretty sure everybody in the group here is aware of who Jessica Yaniv is. So
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Unfortunately. I've tried
And
to
the
understand.
absence of said person, aside from being absolutely abhorrent and makes her a complete and utter asshole.
Maybe we should still explain.
reflect
Pretend I
badly on-
don't know who she is. Like,
Yeah,
literally-
let's.
I
Honest-
literally don't. Like, I've heard her name, but
Okay.
I don't know the whole
Honestly,
story.
You really don't.
Honestly,
Okay.
the best way to describe her is she has become a living embodiment of what the conservatives have said is the slippery slope of trans rights. Like
Yes.
literally everything they said would come of giving trans people rights. She has become.
Yes.
It is very easy to believe that she is actually a paid actor to deliberately make trans people look bad.
can you give an example of something that she's done?
Well, the most recent one is the whole Brazilian waxing thing, because I really don't even like saying she for her, because they also present as masculine and have both names in their Twitter profile. So I'm like, is it? But I mean, I should respect pronouns and that, even for an asshole. But I don't know if that's justified, but I should do it.
Is
So-
asshole a pronoun? Can we just use that?
She does all the
Yeah, well, let's
pronouns.
do that.
Basically, she went around to several different beauty salons that provide Brazilian waxing and insisted on getting a Brazilian wax. Now, remember, this is a pre-op transsexual who still has the junk in her trunks.
Okay.
And when said salon said, "We do not wax testicles," she took it to the Canadian Human Rights Tribunal and is trying to sue them.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
pretty disgusting. And
for
and
not
it's
providing a service because, oh, I'm a woman and I have to be able to have a Brazilian. No, these people are not trained to wax
balls.
scrotum. So they shouldn't be doing that. And aside from that, if these women don't want to touch your testicles, that's fine too.
Yep.
You shouldn't have the right to make them do that. This is not a human rights issue in the same sense as many other trans issues are. This is just somebody being a fucking asshole.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
I just want to I just want to make an example of the correct way to go about this. Like, I will be getting a lot of hair down there removed. I'm going to go to the person who currently does my hair removal, which has been great up here, good up here. And I'm going to say, you don't have to do, you are under no obligation to do this, but I need this hair down there gone so that I can have the non-binary surgery that I want, right? So
Right.
I'm going to make it abundantly clear that he's under no obligation to agree to do it.
And, and
Also,
and there is nothing wrong with you also saying, could you recommend somebody who would do it for me?
Yeah.
That's perfectly reasonable. And in some respects, it's fairly reasonable for a business that's providing a service to, if they're not providing a service to somebody else, look to other businesses around them and see who would provide that service in case a customer asks. But it's not a requirement for that either.
No.
You as the
Bless
clientele need to find somebody who will provide the
Bless you.
service you want.
Bless me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Bless you.
Could you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, we could. Bless you, Mary.
Oh,
We saw,
sorry.
it, we saw it too
You're-
in like slow motion. It was
Yeah,
pretty-
it was gorgeous.
Sorry, I thought I muted my mic.
We just
I-
figured you were allergic
It's
to the
all
bullshit.
right. May your
want-
soul get stuffed back into your face.
I wanted
What
to
was
say
that?
something. Oh,
Sorry, go.
Oh, I was just gonna say I wanted to add something about the the whole thing. I don't know anything about that story, so besides I've heard that name and I've heard like the memes, I guess, going about the scrotum thing or whatever. But in some areas, if you're in a small town, you wouldn't be able to recommend another place to go.
Well,
Yeah.
that is true, but that still doesn't mean that that small business should be made to do something that they're not trained to do, and
Yeah.
they actually may not want to do. And as a small business owner, if there's somebody asked me to do a job I'm not prepared to do, or I don't think I'm qualified to do, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to
Yep.
turn the person down nicely, but I'm not going to do it.
I just
And
want
also forcing people to touch your genitalia if they don't want to is sexual assault.
Yeah, as far as
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
So
my-
there is another consideration. They probably have insurance for their business. Because you might even have. But they probably
Is this
have.
story in Canada?
Yes.
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 Oh, wow.
Unfortunately,
Okay.
she's.
I actually did a video about it, Godless Cranium, that I linked
Oh.
to you.
Oh, really? Oh
Yeah.
my God.
I did.
How did I not? On Twitter? I'm sorry, I'm terrible. Sometimes
Yes, I did.
sometimes I get
just wanted to
inundated
give you a
by.
heads up. I wanted to give you a heads up of this.
Oh
Yeah.
crap! Oh man,
So-
sometimes I get inundated by like message like
Nah, that's
things,
okay.
and I miss stuff. So I'm sorry.
I should have private messaged it to you instead of just including you in the tweet. So
That's,
like-
that's okay. That's okay.
So how the law is supposed to work, okay, is that if they will wax a dude's scrotum, then they must wax, a chick's scrotum. Like that's how the thing works.
even as a trans person, that sentence sounded wrong.
Okay, whatever. But they have to like they have if they do it for one, they have to do it for the other. But one, if they have business insurance, the business insurance will not insure that unless they are specifically trained to do it. So
Right.
there's a reason why they're not going to do it. They're going to say, no, our insurance won't cover this. And the insurance won't. And then they're going to say, too, this is unsafe, right? This is a no-win situation. Because they're either going to do it, fuck up, and get their asses sued off by this person, or they're not going to do it, and she's gonna launch a human rights complaint against you. So either way, either way, this is literally a no-win situation.
Yeah, one of these
for any
businesses
business.
actually had to close their doors over it.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awful.
Yeah,
one of the
she
things
actually ruined their business. So I mean,
Yeah, she's done
regardless
this
of whether
multiple
there was any
times.
personal prejudice from the business that was running, it doesn't change the fact that what Yaniv has done is wrong.
Oh, and she's also a sexual predator and a pedophile.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
I
wait,
think that's
whoa, hold on,
important to
hold on.
the own side of the discussion. Yeah.
Like
the-
she was arrested and convicted of something, or like what?
No,
No,
she
no,
wasn't. That's an alleged from me. But
Okay.
what she did was she applied for permission to have a pool party, which for 12 to 22-year-olds, I think it was, where upper body clothing would be optional and parental guardians were not allowed.
What?
I think there's actually more solid evidence than that.
Yeah.
Many tweets and even texts with people have come to light,
Sure.
including ones where before transition, she's asking people, "Hey, in women's locker rooms, do women just like walk around with their tampons, dangling out
Yeah,
of
the
their
strings
vaginas?"
dangling out. Can you see the
Right.
string? What?
Yeah. She also specifically talked with an underage girl asking if 16 was legal age in her area, and when she turned 16, if they could see each other. I mean, just all
Ugh.
kinds of really horrible shit.
Right. Like,
I'm
I
just
do
looking
wanna-
at the chat right now.
I
And
asked the
there's-
question. I'm sorry,
Sorry.
Navardia. I'm just saying I asked the question so that we could clarify for people, not because I was
Right.
trying to insinuate that she was. Right. Okay. I just want to make that clarification.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just looking at the chat right now. Mark Caesar says, "Do you think she went there wanting to cause waves?"
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
she's got a history of doing things that are outrageous, then trying to sue people.
Even Shannon
After-
knows on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Caden Adventures says that they. Do you mind? Oh, well.
It's such a shame you're not in here, Shannon.
Yeah. Caden says that they literally filed a complaint with FBI on Yaniv just to see if they could do something. It's inexcusable what they've been doing.
Yeah.
So thank you, Caden, for that. Your
Yeah.
responsibility.
Yeah.
Although-
FBI's
although
probably not gonna
she's-
help too much because she's in
Yeah,
Canada.
Yeah, they're in Canada. Yaniv is
Well,
in Canada.
not necessarily.
so-
If the child she was contacting was a U.S. citizen, then
That's
you
true.
could argue that
That's
the
true.
FBI would have jurisdiction.
Even-
So.
Even just talking about her on here, she could. She may.
Right.
attempt-
It would be up to the jurisdiction where the person lived, whatever
Yeah.
however their laws work. Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome, Shannon. We don't care if you're an
Oh.
exhausted mess. You
Yeah.
don't even have to have your video on. You can just be voice if you want.
I mean, I'm
I just
always an
have
exhausted
one
mess,
thing I
and do,
have-
like 3 live streams a week. So
I just have one thing to do real quick. So while Shannon comes in, I will be the moose.
sure.
Yeah. It's also okay, Shannon, that I've got hay fever, so I'm an exhausted mess with.
You also look like you've been running in the wind.
I don't think any of us are actually well then, because I'm sick.
I
Oh,
didn't even-
well, I'm fine. I'm just cold.
Oh.
I didn't even know they
Screw
had
you,
hay in
Jenny.
Australia. So this is like
Oh,
I've
man,
learned-
I want to be cold. Send some cold here.
right.
You lot have got a heat wave, haven't you? So.
Oh yeah. Southern
We're-
California heat wave, all kinds of fun.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
heard it was like 39 degrees in England or something
There's
like that.
not heat in England is dreadful because the humidity is through the roof. So
Yeah, there's a meme going
Well,
right
you're
now.
living-
I'm sorry.
You're talking to someone who lives in Queensland, Jenny. Like our heat wave.
are
right?
you actually in
Also have-
Queensland at the moment, though?
Yeah, I am.
You are in
Australia.
Queensland at the moment.
Yeah.
But you're
There's a
not from
meme-
Queensland.
What was that?
Okay.
You're not from Queensland.
No, I'm New South Wales.
That's right. See, I had it the other way around in my head. I don't know why.
You should know
Yeah.
where I live. I've
Yeah,
told
you-
you.
Yeah, I know you did, but my brain reversed it. I don't know. I was
How
having a moment.
How could you?
Hey, it's
Hey,
not as bad.
Shannon!
It's truly not as
Shannon!
bad.
Hey.
Hey, Shannon.
Hey Shannon.
Hello. Hi. I'm an exhausted mess, so I'm sorry. But yeah, no. Hi.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
That's all right.
I'm an exhausted mess too. So
Always an exhausted mess. It's fine.
Oh,
How was your
had to
weekend
travel.
away, Shannon?
It was really good. My cousin owns an organic free range farm.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
my son loves going there. Absolutely loves going there and hanging out with all the goats and the geese and the chickens and the cows and the pigs and going swimming in the swimming hole and riding bikes. But it's a ways away from where I am. So we had to travel there. And traveling in the heat, and oh my goodness, it's really hot here. With an 8-year-old is, yeah. I was a little tired. And I made
Yeah,
him
it's
over
pretty hot
lunch
here.
Slightly yesterday, maybe. I don't know.
Did you persuade Paul to go with you?
Sorry.
Did you persuade Paul to go with you?
Well, no, Paul lives across the country from me.
I'm
Yeah.
aware of that.
well, it's a
Yeah,
big
you could've-
country.
Hey, so is ours.
He's actually coming on Friday. He'll be here on Friday for 3 weeks.
Oh, nice.
That's so
Wow.
exciting.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Awesome.
It's adorable.
Oh, you guys. I was going to say you guys should do a stream, but you've got way more important things to do. If you together.
We probably will, I think. We
So,
probably
Shannon, I'm not.
If you do, throw me an invite.
Shannon, I'm not sure if you're aware, but I've been kind of half jokingly telling Paul to come to Australia so we can take him around so he can go and visit Ken Ham's, where all that area. And it's like, you guys should come, both of you.
I'll go
I've
to
got a
Australia.
family
I'll go
Yeah,
tomorrow.
Oh, if you go East Coast, I'm going to fly over and meet everyone.
trip.
Bring me with you. No, I gotta go to San Francisco, unfortunately. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, we know what you mean.
Hi,
Where
Mike.
were we totally sidetracked ourselves.
Hey,
Yeah.
Shannon.
Oh yeah, you were making
That's
some
a-
comments about Jessica in
Oh
the
my gosh, it's bananas. The The waxing thing for me is like there's a thin line there where she could have some relevant points, and those are things that should be analyzed. And
That
but
would
the-
depend entirely on the business, though. If the
Right.
business offered testicle waxing, then and they've said no, we won't do you, then yes, that's prejudice.
right,
Yeah,
But if they don't, then it's not.
yeah, no,
exactly.
I can agree with that, and I can see how there would be liability issues, especially since I'm assuming like the skin's different down.
Yeah,
It's
it
an
really
entirely different
is.
Technique. I have to learn an entirely different waxing technique. But
I
no,
would. I
definitely
didn't even
say-
know that could be. I didn't even know that could be wax.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say
Okay.
I would actually be terrified to let somebody wax my testicles who didn't
Thank you.
expressly specialize in waxing testicles.
Well, I'm
It's-
waxing myself right now.
Yeah, they call it a wax.
Well, I would let
waxing
you
shop.
wax my testicles, godless.
I was just reading like a story really quick on here, and it looks like the story was from 2018. So I guess she was doing this in 2018.
Oh, she's been at this a while.
But
Yeah, a long
she
while.
actually won her case, the human case or the Human Rights Tribunal.
Yeah, our human rights tribunal is horrible. I don't. From what I've heard, they've never ruled against it. Someone filing a complaint with them. That's probably hyperbole. They probably have, but that's what that's what the fearmongers say. But they
Which
generally
another
do.
fallout of this bad actor actually is people losing faith in that tribunal.
Nobody's had faith in it. I don't know anyone who's actually had faith in it, except for. But maybe even more people might be losing faith in it now.
Yeah,
One
it's
thing.
not a good situation in any
go.
way.
Oh, there we go. I
But
lost.
one thing I think.
I lost my Wi-Fi. Came back.
One thing I might say is that she might have had a legitimate case once, and then continue, and then found out that they can continue doing this. As because from other things we've seen, this person is kind of shit. So
I
it could.
believe it said she's done it 15 times, and she usually targets non-English speaking or English as a second language citizen. At least the story I was reading.
Yeah. So she's. I don't know. I might call that racist.
There is an issue with some of the reporting in that a lot of the reporting initially came from right-wing Christian-based media, and
Yeah,
then filtered down into the mainstream press.
I
So
was just
it has been done through this eyeglass of wanting to persecute trans people in general,
yes.
Yeah.
which makes it really hard to find what the actual truth is in there. But I mean, most of us on Twitter have had some experience with this person, and they are definitely shit.
I've never interacted with them, and I would.
Yeah, well,
prefer
how
not
have
to.
you managed that?
I-
Elmo recordings. That
What?
was the creepiest thing that she sent to that
Yeah.
14-year-old girl.
Yeah, that
was
sounds
disgusting.
creepy.
Wait,
What did-
what
what did they
recordings?
say?
What happened?
Okay, so she sent recordings to this 14-year-old girl that was her doing an Elmo impersonation, but she was saying things like Elmo likes PUSSY and Elmo wants to have sex with you, but like in an Elmo voice. It was terrifyingly creepy, and it was sent to a 14-year-old girl.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
terrifying.
That's
Yeah, that's terrible.
extremely disturbing.
Yeah.
What's
These
Alex
people don't
Alex
exist.
Jones's website called?
Infowars.
Yeah, she's been on there. She
Yeah.
actually appeared as a guest
Ah.
on
Right.
InfoWars.
Right.
Why?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
I
Guest on
Because
Alex Jones?
she was arguing that she had a right to abortion services.
What?
Sure.
Yeah, yeah, and then when the guest asked, but surely you can't get pregnant, and she goes, "It's complicated."
Not
And
that
I'm like,
complicated.
Yeah,
No, that's-
you know,
that's
you
pretty
you
can't.
don't
Well,
have
it's-
a womb. You
Yeah.
don't have a womb. It's somewhat
Okay.
biologically.
There is
impossible.
technically a medical procedure for it that has been discussed for the last 15 years, but no one in their right mind would ever have it because it's
Dangerous.
basically creating an ectopic pregnancy
Right.
in part of the body cavity, and the only way to give birth afterwards is via cesarean section, and they also have to remove part of the organs that surround the
Right. Of
placenta.
course.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
your
it is
chance
possible.
of dying from this is very, very, very high.
You
Well,
know,
there
and
is talks of uterus transplants as well.
so
Yeah,
now you're-
But I wouldn't trust those because there's nothing like what's holding that in place, right? Like
That's not only
that's
that. I mean, if
scary.
you have a transplant, you have to take anti-rejection medication, which is risky for the child. So usually people on those sort of drugs are told not to get pregnant anyway.
right.
Yeah, it's
So
Can I-
there's not that. In the future, now that they've got ways to artificially grow uteruses using the scaffold growing technique, then that
regenerative
is
medicine.
a possibility.
Yeah.
But it's not at the moment.
No,
Well, and it's
Um,
frustrating for me because I have worked for nonprofits that sought out to expand healthcare for those who can become pregnant and may need an abortion. So I have seen this for a long time. People, bad actors, I guess you could call them, doing stunts like this for the express reason of disenfranchising people to get legislation on the books that takes healthcare away from people at a time when they need it so bad. I mean, if you need to have an abortion, you need to have an abortion. And for someone like this to do a stunt about it for laughs or kicks or whatever is, I mean, it enrages me on a fundamental level. It
and
is
on the worst possible platform to do it.
Oh my god, it is so abhorrent.
yeah.
Oh my god, it makes me angry.
Can I talk a little bit about ectopic pregnancies because only I will bring in this a little bit of science into this. But
Oh, I
you
could have
can
thrown in some. Sorry.
you can actually have an ectopic pregnancy not just outside of the fallopian tube, but actually in the abdominal cavity. Obviously it's not a great thing to do, but women have actually given birth to an ectopic pregnancy that has implanted outside onto maybe the lining of the stomach or something like that. So technically speaking, it should be possible for this person to have a child, but the thing is,
It's dangerous.
it's incredibly dangerous. It's incredibly
and-
dangerous.
That's
And to
exactly
say
the technique they were talking
Yeah,
of doing.
it's like for a woman to get pregnant, you need to have the hip shape and the physical dynamic of the hips that men don't tend to have. If you know what I
Depends
mean?
how young the person transitioned.
Yeah, exactly. If the
Yeah.
person transitioned before male puberty, then it would be a bit different. But
Yeah,
it's very,
even up
very
to about 24, you get enough change in the hip structure that you can
yeah.
that it wouldn't be too much of a problem. Even so, even with an abdominal pregnancy, you could still do it as long you wouldn't just give
So
natural birth. It has to be cesarean section.
It has to be.
Yeah.
As I
Just
said,
to
the
say-
risk of that, because of the way the placenta implants itself in the surrounding organs, is that they have to remove a large selection of what's around,
Exactly. And
and that alone can cause death. Let alone the ectopic pregnancy, which can cause death anyway. So
yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah.
the risk is just enormous.
Yeah.
It was never seriously considered to be done. It was just, we could do it. A couple of people asked for it. This is how we do it. But yeah, no.
Yeah. I mean,
it's kind of safe for the baby because the baby still is able to produce the surrounding areas of the organ to protect the baby, but the mother,
Yeah.
she can go through some pretty traumatic experiences with this
yeah.
ectopic pregnancy.
Sounds like it.
Sure.
I mean, I could talk about regenerative medicine and what it's going to do for trans people all day, but I won't. that is actually one I wanted to do more research on and bring and do a show on at some point though, because that's, I think,
Right.
just grow me the organs I need instead of using my body's internal lining to approximate it, basically.
Right. Well, and just be the way that she structured this whole thing about, well, I was denied abortion services
Yeah.
is disingenuous. It's a disingenuous, bad acting way. It's like saying late term abortion or partial birth abortion. These things don't exist. That's not a medical phrase. There's
Mm.
no such thing as a partial birth or late term abortion. So just it's the fact that they use these phrases, these terms, as if they mean something when they're actually nonsense. And
Mm.
they push it so much. I mean, there's a law on the books in the United States, the Partial Birth Abortion Ban Act, which bans something that doesn't exist.
Sure,
It's just
Good.
nonsense.
let it be banned then.
Right, exactly.
And I
Like
mean,
that's it. That's
I
what
heard
I
that-
said on the first thing about this abortion bit, right? It's like, okay, here you go. You have your abortion services. When you need an abortion, come and see us. Bye.
most
Right.
of the arguments against abortion are coming from a bad actor situation anyway.
Absolutely.
Like,
Absolutely.
let's play on the extreme and say, oh, this happened to this person, and
Right.
nah, fuck off. That's not
Yep.
how it works.
Yeah, I mean,
When we can point to the other extreme where it's like, oh, this person who was a 15-year-old rape victim who got pregnant.
Mind you, if we're gonna have really late term abortions, can you guys over in the US have one for Trump?
Please.
so no. I would. But you know, the you're absolutely correct. The issue is that people want abortion to be bad, so they find ways to describe it so that it becomes bad. But you know, if a woman, for instance, is in a car accident and suffering organ failure, and either they take the fetus out, or the woman and the fetus are going to die. I mean, there's one option here. Either they both die or one
Save the
dies.
woman's life.
Right.
If the mother is in danger, I'm totally pro.
Right, which
abortion.
has been the law since the 70s. They act like the law has like Roe v. Wade said that when it was passed in 1972. It hasn't changed.
If
but-
being pregnant causes undue mental stress on the mother, I am pro there as well.
Mm.
Like in cases of where the child's a product of rape, or just if the mother's not mentally stable enough to cope with the whole pregnancy.
Right.
I'm okay with that. But using abortion as a form of birth control, no.
That very rarely happens.
I don't
Yeah,
think
I know it's
anybody's
very
doing
rare,
that.
but
We're not
there
like,
are-
oh, I'll just get an abortion.
Just shut you down a little bit here, Jenny.
No. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but I have
Right.
known people who have done that.
Of
You-
course it happens, but when
Right.
that happens, 95% of the time, it happens before 8 weeks. So
Oh
you're not
no,
even.
I agree.
you know,
But I'm also I'm saying I don't agree with it. I'm not saying they shouldn't be allowed to do it because
Right.
it's your body. It's entirely your own choice.
I don't know, the kind
Exactly.
of person that would use abortion as a form of birth control. I'm not sure that I want them giving birth anyways. So
Mm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, this is mostly, I mean, there are some stupid people who say stupid things on abortion, just because they're stupid. Like abortions for everyone and let's have abortion parties. They don't actually necessarily mean that, but they say it just because they're bad at having discussions on
Yeah,
things.
they're trolls.
No, they're not trolls. They're just bad at having discussions and don't want to have a discussion and think that they should be and think that they're right.
same thing as when atheists say, you know, I'm a heathen, you know, and they rub their heathenness in, you know, a Christian's face. It's not really, I really think that we need to have abortion parties. It's more just rubbing in the face of I'm trying to piss you off and show how much I don't care about what you think about abortion. you
Well,
know?
yeah, that too. And also just what I was saying. But like I don't yeah, like I can't really say a whole lot on abortion itself. I can neither get pregnant nor can I get anyone pregnant. So, it's
And
like
I didn't mean to bring up a conversation about abortion. I'm just saying in the United
No,
States,
abortion is
it's a
fine
place.
topic.
Well, I'm just saying in the United
These
States, we
are-
have a lot of bad actors trying to disenfranchise healthcare services for people who can become pregnant simply
Yep.
because they're dicks.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of bad there is a lot of bad actors, you know, who are pro-abortion, who just hate, who are just so like unwilling to actually, you know, talk to other people that they're activism is harmful to abortion rights. Like, they're not willing to try to convince someone. They're just going to say, well, no, I'm right and you're wrong. And we're going to have abortion parties just to annoy people, right? I
Sure.
would consider that kind of rhetoric bad acting.
Yeah.
Just because you are not being productive and you are harming, the rights that you're trying to get by making yourself look like just an irrational troll, even though you're not trolling, you're being serious.
People
Sure.
who do stuff like that, one of the reasons I think it's damaging is because a lot of the rhetoric on the other side of these arguments puts up this, archetypical, stereotypical worst case scenario. This is what people will do. This is what people will look like. And then when people just
Mm.
start to formally adopt those archetypes and then publicly instantiate them, it's almost as though you're validating those counterpoints to people who may have been on the fence.
Exactly. That's kind of what I was saying, but just you said it a whole lot better than me, Shannon.
Well, it's a lot easier to make an extreme argument against an extreme case, so that's why they choose it. But yeah, that's a
That's
great
why
point.
the argument usually comes down to you're either pro-life or you're pro-abortion, which isn't true.
Right?
you
No
can-
one likes
You
abortion.
can be
I mean,
pro-choice, yeah,
Right.
because you can be pro-choice and still pro-life, which is, I think,
Sure,
the position most of us would have is,
Yeah.
I'm pro-choice, but I'm also pro-life. I'd rather,
right.
if it's possible for the baby to be saved, but if it's not, then that's fine too.
That's
It
where
is
exactly where I am.
obstetrician- Right. No
And also-
obstetricians going through 12 years of medical training to become an obstetrician because they want babies to die. That's not why they do it. They do it to save people's lives and to treat them. So,
Yeah.
no, you're absolutely correct.
And they're forgetting that places that provide abortion don't just provide abortion; they provide lots of other healthcare.
Yeah,
well,
like
Planned
Planned Parenthood in California, who provide trans services to some people that we know and love.
Planned Parenthood their budget for abortion is 3% of their actual budget.
No,
Wow.
the services they provide
Yeah,
to the
it's-
community are huge.
Yeah, so 97% of their budget and their services actually goes towards other things,
Of course.
mainly preventing unwanted pregnancy, and
Yeah,
also
education and
education and saving women's lives if they're
Right.
Mammograms,
higher-
cervical cancer screenings, pap
Mhm.
smear tests, birth
Yep.
control, hormone level checks. List goes on. People don't realize just how much goes into women's health. They just think it's, the only reason we would go there is for an abortion. Like, what else could women conceivably want to do in there?
Right.
Well,
And
they
yet
even
you
Go
have
there to get their
these-
pregnancies monitored.
they don't
and yet
even
you
just
have these
provide.
right wingers out the front with banners trying to stop people from going in there and getting services that they might need to save their lives.
That person could
and-
be walking in there to get birth control pills for all they know.
I
Or
want
also
to.
fertility
They're
treatment.
going in there to get
Yeah,
a scan for
exactly.
cancer.
I also want to point out that they provide sexual health services to men. And again to both trans men and trans women as well, right? Which, okay, most of the people who are that much against abortion are going to be that much against trans people too, but like they provide all of that. I believe they provide like prostate cancer screening, stuff like that as well.
I'm sure. In a lot of places, abortions can be performed at hospitals. It depends on when it is in the pregnancy. It depends on what is going on in the pregnancy. Dr. Gunter, if you follow her on Twitter, she's considered the internet's gynecologist. She's an amazing follow. You should definitely check her out. And she's Canadian too, Dr. Jen Gunter. So,
nice.
But she talked about in a New York Times article, she got a phone call. This was back in the 90s, from a group of doctors who were treating a woman who was going through kidney failure.
Ooh.
And the doctors felt like an abortion would be the only way to save the woman's life. And she was in her, I think she was in her second trimester. And so Dr. Gunter decided, looked at their suggestions and decided they were probably correct, but no one really knew. Like, they went to the woman and they were like, we don't know. We're suggesting this to you, but none of us are like reaching into your womb to take a baby from you and laugh while it dies. It's a medical procedure. We're trying to save your life, and we think this is what's best for you. It ended up she survived. I mean, she had the abortion, she survived, but I think people don't think of abortion in those terms. They think of someone that is being promiscuous and gets pregnant by mistake and then says, "Oh, I'm going to have an abortion now because I did not mean to become pregnant."
Yeah.
That's not what we're talking about.
No.
Right?
I watched a video by Unholy Sarah. She talked about abortion, and this is something I don't think many people talk about. Is the fact that a lot of people in countries in South America where there is zero abortion care, like if you have an abortion for any reason whatsoever, you could go to jail. Women have gone to jail for 20-year sentences, 30-year sentences for having miscarriages.
What?
I can't remember. Yep.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
God, that's awful enough. I've had a miscarriage. That's like,
Oh.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
and
if they-
also that's happened in the US as well. You've got Bebe Shui. She was pregnant. Her husband left her, and she tried to kill herself. Eating rat poison. She miscarried. She got sent to jail. I can't remember how long she was in jail for, but I think it was a good couple of years because she ended up going aborting the baby. There was another pervy something, I can't remember her name. She had a miscarriage. She ended up throwing what was her baby in the bin because she couldn't get to medical care. They found the aborted fetus, and then she got sent to jail as well. So this is happening in the US already. Has already happened where women have gone to jail for having a miscarriage.
right.
was
And
also-
Georgia's
Yeah, but the
Georgia's
U.S.
trying to
wants
put a law
people
on
in
foot.
jail
Right.
just so the U.S. just so that people who run the private prisons can make money.
Right,
Mm.
absolutely. Well, it ties into if you know what the Hyde Amendment is, it's legislation that basically says if you're a federal worker, you can't. I got to think how to say this right. Anyway, federal money can't go to pay for abortion services. Okay, so it has been proved time and time again that the Hyde Amendment disenfranchises poor people because who needs government-sponsored healthcare more than anyone else? Well, it's people without health insurance. It's people who don't have as much money as people who do have good jobs and get health insurance through their employer. So all of these things are just to disenfranchise poor people. That's all this is about.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. But it's definitely a result. So yeah, that's always that's definitely.
That's got
bring
more
it back
do
to
with
something a
the fact
little
that the rich
lighter.
don't actually care what
Yeah,
they do.
let's bring it.
Relation.
Let's bring this back to something light.
So to bring it back to something lighter and still in the bad actors, there's another class of bad actor that you commonly see in things like, let's say, climate change, which are people who are passionate about a topic but completely uninformed. And you get these things like, these ridiculous predictions and doomsday clocks that don't come true that came from things like bad blogs or the news or something like that. And that has a really delegitimizing effect on whatever topic it might be, whether it be trans rights, gay rights, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it can have a real savage delegitimizing effect on whatever topic it is.
In relation to that, Potholer recently did a video about an article that was published about the Maldives, where they were saying, "Oh, by the year 2025, it'll all be underwater," which actually wasn't what the science was saying, but they just jumped to this huge conclusion to make this.
I just want to say, anyone
Take a
not
look.
subscribed to Potholer 54, go subscribe to Potholer 54.
Potholer is amazing.
yeah,
I just wish
Potholer's
he put out
great.
more content.
Yes.
Yep.
The one that I've seen the most lately in this is people on the left who are in the United States, people on the left who are discounting the Green New Deal and saying that it's going to do all of these things that the Green New Deal doesn't say. It's only 14 pages long. The print is very large, and the first 2 or 3 pages are just the people who sponsored it. But
Oh, I
the
haven't
Green
even
New
heard
Deal,
of that. You're gonna have to go into more detail.
I can. The Green New Deal. So here's what happened. People on the left were saying, progressives like me were saying, hey, we have to do something about climate change. And people on the right were saying, well, what should we do? Give us a plan, give us something. So a group of progressives got together and formulated the Green New Deal, which is a lot like the 2008 Green presidential party's platform, actually, but we don't talk about that. Anyway, so it's just a stepping stone. It just says, hey, as we pass new legislation in the United States, we need to keep climate change at the forefront. Here's some of the things that we could think about putting legislation on. The amount of fuel that airplanes use, how many airplanes there are, better public transit systems that don't use gasoline or kerosene or any of that, or jet fuel, anything like that. Like, why don't we think about rail systems? Why don't we think about electrical systems? Why don't we think about stuff like Impossible Meat that doesn't require a bunch of cows to be farmed? And so what happens is that Fox News starts suddenly talking about, oh, progressives don't want you to eat hamburgers anymore. And progressives don't want there to be airplanes anymore. And we're like, no, you guys asked us to put forth something that was just an outline. It's very short. It's 14 pages long. It's really big print. It took me four or 5 minutes to read the entire thing. And what happens is that those talking points are sensational. So everyone starts talking about all the sensational shit instead of worrying about the fact that the planet is on fucking fire.
Yeah, I
can agree
remember
with
watching-
that.
Yeah, I remember watching reading an article about how AOC is stupidly hypocritical because she was caught eating a steak at a restaurant, and how dare she? And I'm thinking, Donald Trump sexually assaults women, fine. Oh my God, she has a steak.
What did they freak out? What did they freak out about with Obama for months? That he wore a tan suit.
Oh no.
They are still up in arms. It's a pun about Michelle Obama's arms.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
still talk about that to this day. Michelle Obama's arms.
Yeah, and yet Trump
I'm
is
just tired of seeing honestly, when it comes to climate change, I'm tired of seeing the doomsday clocks because none of them are accurate. There's no climate scientist that's going to put a doomsday clock on, climate change.
Sure.
It's one of those things that the sooner that we reverse course, the less severe it's going to be, and the easier it's going to be to make the changes that we need to survive. But the people that are going to be the most impacted aren't people, like us sitting here talking, on Zoom. The people that are going to be affected are people in the less developed world. Those are the people that are there's going to be climate refugees from those places.
and our children and
It
our
already
children's
is.
children,
Yeah.
a couple of generations down, they're the ones who are really going to get hurt.
Right.
Right.
Actually,
Politics doesn't care what happens in 50 years. Politics cares what happens tomorrow.
Right.
actually, Canada here
with
in
these
Canada,
laws-
we're going. Our temperature is increasing more rapidly than the rest of the world, which is really bad.
It is, and we're losing ice, which of course, that's a huge mirror to reflect a lot of heat, which means we're going to heat up faster. But the thing is people keep talking about these apocalyptic scenarios that science isn't predicting. We're not going to extinct the human race because of climate change. What we are going to do is we're going to make life harder for future generations, particularly in the undeveloped world. And when apocalyptic predictions don't come true, that were never made by scientists, it completely delegitimizes in many people's minds the real problem that's happening now. It's not like it's something that's going to happen. It is happening.
Right. Yeah. No, what you're going to see over the next 100 years are changes in coastlines. Some places that grow some types of food, you won't be able to grow those types of food there. You'll need to grow other types of food. You will see, I don't think that we'll see water shortages. I just think water will be available in different areas in different amounts. than it is right now because there will be
Might
ice.
get more expensive too.
One
We're
thing,
gonna see
Right,
lots of
right.
extinction events.
actually, one thing that is predicted that can happen is that humidity levels will increase, and when humidity levels increase, then that humidity has to come from somewhere. It's going to come from the water.
Right. So there
and
will be areas that will get less rain, but maybe more humid. Right. Right.
Yeah,
Sorry to
and
be
so-
stuck.
so
I
they'll
have
have-
to run off and get laundry changed over. I'm really sorry. Thank you for having me.
Thanks
on.
for coming
Okay,
by.
thanks for coming on, Shannon. We
Have a
love
great
you.
night.
See you later, Shannon.
Bye.
Bye.
I want to have a quick talk about bad actors.
Yep.
I'm trying to find this guy's name.
Oh yes,
He's-
absolutely.
He's an Australian climatologist. Oh, here it is. Ian Rutherford Plimer. I don't know how to pronounce his
Oh
name.
yeah, yeah.
He's an Australian climatologist who really throws out the idea that climate change isn't happening and it's more a natural thing. And he writes out about the fact that a single volcano eruption can put out more carbon dioxide to the atmosphere than all of mankind, like all of humankind to date. I'm reading the Snopes article, let alone 10,000 times more. And what he has done is given climate change denialists a huge platform to talk about, this one guy. And they use obviously the fallacy of the logical fallacy. What is it?
Truth Boxman? Is that what you're going for?
No,
No.
appeal to authority. The
Appeal to
Oh,
authority.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, he so because he's got he's a climatologist who's highly educated, he has that people have this attitude of, oh, he knows what he's talking about. And anyway, all you have to do is a very tiny little bit of scratching below the surface, and he has a huge amount of interest to try and deny it. He has connections with a lot of the coal lobbies, a lot of non-natural, non-renewable resource lobbies to say things like, a single volcanic eruption releases X amount of CO2 into the
Sure.
atmosphere. And
Sure.
he's a bad
It's the
actor.
same thing that the oil industry had as far as putting lead in petrol for years.
Right.
The it's not really causing any damage, and we'll trot out our experts to say it's not hurting people, and then all of a sudden, when all the evidence was too strong for them, they had to go, oh,
Right.
but we didn't know. And it'll be the same thing here. All those people who are now denying climate change in 5-10 years, however long it takes for them to finally get convinced, are going to say, but we didn't know, we didn't have the evidence.
Well, and my problem with his argument is he's probably correct in some. I mean, it would depend on the size of the volcano, but the issue isn't that a volcano can spew so much CO2 all at one time. It's the amount of CO2 that we have continuously put into the atmosphere for the last century that is changing the makeup of the atmosphere and allowing the
Yeah.
atmosphere to hold in more heat. So,
Well, the thing,
if Yellowstone, the super volcano under Yellowstone National Park in the United States exploded tomorrow, it would
We'd all
probably
die.
be more CO2 than the entire human race has ever put into the atmosphere or something. But it's
I
a
doubt
really
that.
big fucking volcano. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying maybe it would or maybe it not. It would be a lot.
Yeah.
Well, the problem is that more CO2 isn't as big a problem as some of the other gases. See,
Right, like methane and everything.
Right,
No,
yeah.
absolutely.
yeah,
absolutely.
exactly. So because there reaches a point where the CO2 can only do so much because it's already blocking and absorbing the wavelength of light that CO2 absorbs. But when
Sure.
you add methane, it absorbs more of that wavelength, and that's
it hangs
actually
around for
powerful.
longer as well. And
Mhm.
also the thing is that volcanoes also release sulfides, which help reflect which actually one of those reflecting the heat back out into the atmosphere.
Well, I
Um,
do
so
Volcano
remember.
actually cools the world, it doesn't make it.
Yeah,
No.
they
I do remember a major volcanic eruption. I think it was in the 90s. And I think it was. I think it might have been in Iceland, or something like that. But it actually, I think it might have actually reduced the temperature of the world by a couple of
Yeah.
degrees.
Oh,
Um,
it certainly could, absolutely. Especially once the dust gets in the atmosphere, it can be
Yeah,
a
well,
reflective layer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Krakatoa, when Krakatoa exploded in the late 1800s, I can't remember the exact year. When it exploded, they had record cold snaps throughout the
Right.
entire world because it was that big of an explosion. The
Sure.
aerosols actually traveled around the planet. That's why
Right.
during that time you had those amazing pictures of those bright red sunsets, was because of all of the aerosols that were released into the atmosphere by Krakatoa. So,
Yeah.
and also the thing that a lot of people don't think about is when volcanoes erupt, they do release CO2, but that CO2 is very easily reabsorbed back into the earth through photosynthesis
yeah.
and plants.
So
We're cutting down
And
we're cutting
limestone.
down all the trees.
So
that
just to say stuff on that, volcanic winter is a thing, and it is actually a proposed alternative to a meteor impact for extincting the dinosaurs, for that mass extinction at the end of
Right.
the Cretaceous, or at least maybe something that helped it along is, like every volcano on Earth deciding to erupt all at the same time. The most recent example that has been significant, and this is the one I was thinking of. It was actually in the Philippines. In 1991, the explosion of Mount Pinatubo, a stratovolcano in the Philippines, cooled global temperatures for about 2 to 3 years. So,
Yeah, so we want a massive explosion. We actually
Yeah.
No, we don't want too massive a one because that will kill us.
yeah,
Well,
yeah, we
yeah.
don't we don't
necessarily a bad thing.
we
I
don't
really-
really want Yellowstone to go off.
yeah, if Yellowstone goes off,
Uh,
I want to be in Australia when it
like-
does.
It's not going to
Yeah.
help much if Yellowstone goes off.
Oh no! I will be cooked by it if it goes off. I will literally be
yeah.
cooked by it. I'm that
No,
close.
but it won't help us either. I mean, what is it? If Yellowstone actually went as a proper super volcanic eruption, not just a minor eruption,
Sure.
forest fires will cover 70% of the Earth because of the fallout.
Yeah, that sounds
Low
good.
temperatures would initially rise very high and then go off into something akin to a nuclear winter for about 3 or 4 years, and we'd have no production of food. So the human race and most of life on Earth would be completely decimated.
Well,
Yeah.
the Great Dying, the greatest mass extinction on Earth ever, was kicked off by a combination of a volcano and a giant field of coal, basically a swamp that had gone coal, that got lit by this volcano, released just an absolutely ton of material into the air. Basically, all of Siberia was a giant a coal bed that got lit on fire by a super volcano.
What the Siberian was it the Siberian tar pits, isn't it? What they call it?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it kicked off the Great Dying, the greatest mass extinction on.
Right.
So something like Yellowstone blowing its lid at the largest it's ever done would actually almost wipe us out. We'd probably survive because there's enough.
Hydroponics are a
We've
thing.
evolved enough and have enough. How we'd probably survive as a species.
Yeah.
But it
There would
touch
be
and go.
isolated pockets,
Vault Tech
Yeah.
confirmed.
Yeah, those of us who actually know how to do anything that doesn't require electricity might actually survive.
No, electricity is easy. Electricity is easy. It's
Yes, but
you need
You say
water
it's
purifier.
easy, but most of us, a lot of people actually wouldn't know how to make their own, or even make something to make their own.
Oh, there's lots of electricity around. I'd be cooked by the explosion, but there's lots of electricity that I could access around here. That's easily that requires almost no maintenance and doesn't require the sun. So, most of our power from here is hydroelectric. So,
But how long is the point? Is without people there to repair that equipment, it will very quickly stop working.
actually, the hydroelectric is actually pretty. It's actually pretty.
Yeah, but the generators will fail. They
Okay,
have
if I've
constant
heard
maintenance on that equipment made to
at
keep it running.
if I've learned anything from TV, 300 years from now, all the generators will work, all the gasoline will still be around, and roving bands of bandits will be killing each other for those resources.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
and isn't
Just here
that
for the
just
gas.
absolute bullshit?
Yeah.
That's my favorite scene in that Mad Max movie when the guy's like, "Oh, thank you for saving me and my wife." Max like, "I'm just here for the gas."
Yeah. The thing about gasoline is if you
goes
leave
bad.
it stagnant for long enough, it goes bad and it won't run. So
Yeah, well, it wouldn't run a car. It would still be flammable for a couple
yeah,
of
you
years,
could use
but
it
it
in a
wouldn't.
diesel engine, maybe.
Maybe. A little
I
bit.
mean,
But yeah, it
that's
coagulates.
I have to head. Got to go to uni.
sorry.
Okay,
Oh.
bye.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry
Love
for
you.
derailing the
Catch you
conversation.
later. No,
Right,
that's fine.
see you later, everyone.
Bye.
Ciao.
Live long and prosper.
You too.
Bye, nerd. Nacha says bye, nerd.
Bye, nerd.
Good timing, Nacha. Good timing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going good, Notcha. Do you want to jump in, Notcha?
Yeah, that'd be great. Get some Nacha up in here.
Yeah, we'll get some Notcha up in here. Where is he? Oh, where's that link?
You have it?
I do.
Okay.
Oh, he's still at work.
Something I wanted to mention was
Oh,
the chilling effect in general that bad actors can have on any kind of minority group. I really think about for a minute what would the fallout that would have happened if, let's say, Obama, first black president, would have done something like legalized weed. What would have been the fallout from that? I am sure that on his mind throughout his entire presidency was that whatever he does will reflect on, black people as a whole, and people's ideas of what a black president could be in the future.
yeah. The chances of another black president ever being elected was totally hingent on the public's perception of him, which is.
I just
Right.
don't understand that kind of thing.
And
I'm
yet the
sorry.
other side of that is that Nixon being an asshole never stopped other white guys from getting elected.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because one is normalized and the other one is the change. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had this
Yeah.
argument last night on, I think it was on the Great Debate channel. I forget if it was there or Steve McRae's channel, but I had this debate last night about is the United States racist? It was a great debate where we were talking about this. Is it racist?
Not
And
racist,
what I
it's
was-
a stranger.
Well, so here was my argument, okay? There were people there who said that they voted for Trump over Hillary because they were convinced that Hillary was somehow dangerous to the country. And I said, okay, then that means that you were okay with Trump's racism when you voted for him. And they were not happy about that and said that they did not support racism or really know that Trump was a racist when they voted for him. And I said birtherism, and no one listened to that. I think the issue with the United States is, as a United States citizen myself, I think the issue is that we are okay with racism, too many of us. And there were 62 million people who voted for Trump. And I'm not insinuating that all of them are racists. What I'm saying is that having someone in power who was racist was okay with them. There was a line somewhere where they said, well, I'm okay because he's only been this much racist. I don't know what that line is. I have no idea because it was too much for me. I didn't.
I'd like to make.
Can
the
I
argument, though,
can
that
I
it's
offer a
something-
counterpoint to that?
Sure, please.
So, if
Why do you think I brought it
let's
up?
say that everybody knows Trump is a racist and
Mhm.
doesn't like Trump being a racist,
Mhm.
right? But they also think that Hillary is dangerous. And I actually believe that Hillary was dangerous, just not as dangerous as
She's not.
Trump.
That's so silly. That's complete nonsense.
I did not like Hillary whatsoever.
She's an amazing person. You should. She's great. She's a great lady.
No, she's really not.
Yes,
She's
she
a
is.
horrible lady, and
No, she's
her
not
husband isn't all that much better.
important. I'm not talking about her husband. I'm talking about her.
No, I am talking about
Two
her.
different people. Two
Okay,
different people.
She's a
it doesn't
horrible
matter whether
person.
She is or isn't. But if you honestly believe
But-
that she's dangerous and more dangerous than just a racist, then I can see why someone might vote. I see what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
You're right. But
if I
but
would
my
have I
point-
would have voted for Hillary, but I wouldn't have liked it if I was an American. But
But my point is that there's a line somewhere. I mean, they weren't the only two candidates running, right?
For a lot of people, they believe they are, though. Most people believe that if you voting for a third party is throwing away your vote. It's a
right,
pervasive
sure.
attitude.
But my point is that there is some line somewhere where Trump's racism didn't matter enough for them to find somebody else to vote for. Okay, so Hillary's dangerous, and here's these other third-party candidates. They exist. They were there. You could have voted. They were on the ballot. I voted. They were there.
Can somebody
So-
explain to me how Hillary was dangerous? Because I just didn't see it.
I don't understand. I have no
Wait,
idea.
let me. Okay,
He
it
was
doesn't
very-
matter whether she was or wasn't. Let me paint a picture. What if you had the choice between? I mean, you really believed that there was only two choices, and you had to vote, right?
Okay.
And it was between somebody who was a racist or somebody that you knew would get us into, let's say, 100 years of the bloodiest wars in human history.
Between
Okay.
a turd sandwich and a douche.
But that
Exactly.
wasn't the real. That's not the
I'm
situation.
not saying that.
we
Hold
were
on, I'm
in.
not saying that was the reality. What I'm saying though is just to say that someone was willing to vote for a racist, therefore we're okay with racism. I think
Okay.
it's disingenuous. I
But
think
it's
you
okay.
know there were a lot of people who really bought into the idea that Hillary was going to start World War III. They really.
I don't
Yeah.
know about World War III, but I believe that one thing is that I believe that Hillary could have potentially started a war with, if not a full-out war, a proxy war with Russia. And there was a lot of there
So you
There is
sure
a
that
lot
you
of
weren't just
history with
reading into
that.
propaganda there, mate?
I mean, I don't know where you're getting that from, but okay.
yeah,
so-
I honestly think
saying,
you're
I don't-
probably just reading into the propaganda.
it's
that
no. It's all politics. It's all the U.S. and Russia fighting over Middle Eastern oil.
Okay.
Yeah, and you really think it would have come down to a war or anything? You really think that if Hillary was going to do something particularly stupid, they would have let her? I mean,
They're letting Trump
Trump's
doing
done
shit that's
Yeah,
stupid.
Trump's done some stupid things, but he could have done a lot more stupid things, and he's talked about doing even more stupid things.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to go to war in Iran right now, so
So
Yeah.
I don't see how that's any different. This
Well,
is
no.
exactly the
We're
same
not. Hold
crap.
on. We're not talking about necessarily what reality is, because we're talking about intentions, right? When we're
Yeah.
talking about whether or not someone's racist, it's all about intentions. So if somebody honestly believes, even if they're wrong, if somebody honestly believes that the other candidate is dangerous in a significant way, and so they are willing to vote for the racist, but not happy about the racism, that doesn't prove that they are okay with racism.
absolutely. That's what that means.
No, it isn't. If they think
No,
they
I agree with Ansgar. It doesn't. Sometimes
Yeah.
your choice is between two horrible choices.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, our political systems in most countries, that's often what it gives us.
Okay, I had a choice between letting my kid die or putting him on shitty chemotherapy, right? I was not okay with putting him on chemotherapy. I just knew it had to be done.
That's
know-
I hate that happened to your child, but that's not a comparable circumstance.
Well, no, sometimes
sorry.
we have two shitty situations. Doesn't mean we're okay.
But
With
we didn't have to.
Choice but
We had
You-
there were multiple choices. There wasn't two.
intentions are what matters. If they don't think those other choices are viable or realistic, then
Okay.
I can see saying, I'm going to choose to vote for this other, lesser of two evils. I'm not okay with it, but I feel it's what I have to do.
But I mean, there weren't.
I
two
mean, I do
choices.
that
I'm saying
every.
there's more than two choices. That wasn't.
I've done that every time every time I've ever voted in our federal election. I have chosen between basically, I've chosen between basically two corrupt governments. Okay, two corrupt parties. So, like, I've pretty much always voted liberal because they're going to be the best ones for me. And they're and the liberal MP candidate an MPP candidate, the ones that come out of Peterborough here are always really good, but we have not had. I mean, I'm okay a little bit with Trudeau, but he's still corrupt as fuck. But we have not had a good prime minister since Jean Chrétien. And our choices are the NDP, who I don't trust the NDP, the corrupt Liberals, and the Conservative Reform Alliance Party. That was their original name when they merged all of the right-wing parties. It actually came out as crap on the ballot, so literally, so they were almost literally crap, literally on the ballot. So they changed it to the Canadian, to the Conservative Party of Canada, but they're still crap. So we have all of these corrupt parties or potentially incompetent parties. And we have the Green Party, who we really don't want to vote. We really don't want a Green Party majority, or even a Green Party minority. So alls we have, even here in Canada, is a pile of different types of shit to choose from. Just, it's all shit. It's just all coming from different animals. So I sucked it up in our last provincial election and voted for Jeff Leal, who was actually, he was a very, very, very good MP for us. But the party leader was Kathleen Wynne, who, okay, yeah, sure, she's a liberal, she's a lesbian, she got married, publicly and all that. She's also extremely corrupt. She's somewhat incompetent at certain things, and she lets so much get away. But my vote went to my Liberal MP, MPP, because, well, first off, Doug fucking Ford is the Conservative option, and I have no faith whatsoever in the NDP to run a decent government and not bankrupt the province doing so. So they're a little reckless with the funding. So I sucked it up and voted Liberal, basically. So
yeah, I have no reason to point fingers at any of you guys for politics, because our country voted for a homophobe, transphobic prime minister. So
Yeah.
he's a member of the Hillsong congregation.
Now, I
Yeah.
did want to concede something. In the situation I was talking about, it doesn't mean that person wouldn't be wrong, wouldn't be incorrect, wouldn't be entirely misled. But by their perceptions, it wasn't that they were okay with the racism. They were just dumb enough to believe that, this other person was so wacky dangerous that it outweighed the racism.
Right. No, and that's the point that I was trying to get to. So I'm glad that you brought that up, is that I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not attacking anybody for their vote. If you voted for Trump, I fundamentally disagree with you.
Me too.
But I'm not attacking you for it. What I'm saying is, there is in this country a certain line that a lot of people have that they will deal with and try to forget about.
I'll agree with that.
It hurts, but the only way we move that line is to admit that it's there, and it sucks.
I mean, it's not just in your country; it's in every country.
I know
there are lines for
I
everything.
Talk about U.S.
and
politics on my channel. That's what
I know.
That's what I do. So
there's a line for literally everything. Sometimes being on one side or the other of that line is good. I mean,
yeah.
Let's say that sure. The Conservative Party of the Progressive Conservative Party, they're not progressive anymore, of Ontario is, going to is going to basically lose less taxpayer money to corruption than our Liberal Party. They are less corrupt than our Liberal Party somehow. But you know, there are other lines to there. There are other lines there. You know, Doug Ford is definitely. I don't know where he stands on racism, but he's definitely more transphobic and homophobic than
Doug Ford's
than
something
Trump
else,
ever
man.
was.
That
He's
is-
going to
he-
destroy our health care, our
My
provincial
God.
health care.
My God.
He's going
I mean, between
to-
Trump, Ford, and Johnson, it's Tweedledum, Tweedledee, and fucking idiot. And you can give, I don't
Oh,
know
you're
which
talking
one
about
gets in.
Boris. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob
I
Ford.
feel really sorry for the UK at the moment.
I know.
Rob Ford
Well,
was
here's the thing.
terrible. Like, wait, just a
Here's the
sec.
thing.
Rob Ford was terrible. Doug Ford isn't an idiot. The problem is that he's smart. The problem
no,
is that he's
No,
actually
no,
a
no.
competent.
You're right. You're right. I shouldn't have used idiot. I should have said fucking asshole. Is what I should have
Yes.
said.
Oh, he's beyond an
What
asshole.
happened
You're
with
right.
the
You're right. He's
UK
not.
for
I
the
didn't.
last 5
I don't.
6 years?
I don't think any of them are dumb. I don't even think Trump is dumb. I think Trump
Oh,
is
I
a
reckon
moron.
Boris is dumb.
No,
I
hold on,
think that
hold on.
Trump. I think that Trump is. I think that Trump has a mental condition that's affecting his ability
I
to.
definitely agree. I definitely agree.
um,
But I think that Boris
Are
and
you
Trump are
suggesting he's
morons.
going senile?
And the reason that Boris is PM right now is so that all of the bad shit that happens when Brexit goes through can be blamed on him.
Wait, Boris, like labor, like the fucking anti-Semite communist dude.
What? What do you?
No.
Wait, what?
I'm
What?
lost.
I'm lost. What do you mean?
Boris Johnson.
What?
UK.
Yes, Boris Johnson in the UK. Did May miss this? May have missed this.
Okay, no, he's not the guy I'm thinking.
You're thinking
Okay.
Boris Yeltsin.
No, not Boris
Boris.
Yeltsin.
Yeah, right. No,
No.
but here's the thing. Like, they want us to think that Trump and Boris and Ford aren't smart. See, I hesitate to call them intelligent. They're not intelligent, but they're crafty, right? They're crafty people.
Yeah.
I don't know if you
And-
can count Trump in that. I mean, he's failed so
Oh,
often. in things he's
Now
tried to
listen.
do, so.
He is a boorish type of crafty because he gets in trouble and he says something completely fucking racist. Okay, so it's boorish. It's not. You know, he's not fucking. I don't know who's a great statesperson. What's her? Margaret Thatcher. He's not a Margaret Thatcher where he's like clever
Yeah,
crafty.
I wouldn't know if I'd label Margaret Thatcher as
Margaret
a great
Tha-
statesperson.
Margaret
No,
Thatcher
no,
is like a
I'm not.
great.
No. I'm saying she was crafty. She was
Oh,
clever.
she definitely
was
was. I
tricky.
give her
Yeah.
that.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
okay,
she
that-
with
that's
with how
right.
she handled the Falklands. Oh, that was great. I do want to say
right.
that.
No.
No, she was incredibly intelligent.
Yes,
Very,
and she-
very
but she
capable.
was
I don't know
crafty.
if I liked her as a person though.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying she was clever with her
Extremely.
statecraft.
Well, you could go back and look at someone like Winston Churchill in the same light. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know. I think
Churchill.
was that great a person, but he was a great
No.
statesman. He was.
Okay,
Churchill was great for his time. He was
Yeah,
a
he was a
great
great
war
orator.
leader. He was a great
Yeah.
wartime leader, and he was a great. But see, I wouldn't even say that he was great after wartime. He was okay after the war.
he was the right choice for being the prime minister during a war. He may not
Right.
necessarily the right choice for being a prime minister during a war might not necessarily be the right choice for a prime minister during peace.
Right. He wasn't
Um,
like FDR, where he was just a great.
Yeah.
I don't. He just had a
And-
handle on shit.
And
you
the
know?
reason he was in charge of the admiralty before he became the
Right.
prime minister.
Right. No, he
And it's
understood war
fucking
strategy,
England.
Yeah.
Actually, a very good pretty much contemporary example of this is Stephen Harper, our previous prime minister, who is, you know, absolutely. I don't know if you've heard half of the shit that's come out of here about Harper, but he is absolutely horrible. Like he was compared to Hitler. Honestly, not like Trump is being compared to Hitler. Fucking Harper was being compared to Hitler accurately with some of the shit that he was trying to pull off. Like, he is an actual fascist. He was
Wow, I didn't know that.
he was like muzzling climate change scientists, and basically putting them under publication bans. He was,
Really?
forcing his backbenchers to vote certain ways and to only say certain things in Parliament, which is extremely like not kosher in Parliament. You don't tell
Yeah.
your backbenchers how to fucking vote or what to fucking say. The only
Right, of
people who
course.
are allowed to do that are their constituents.
Right.
He was making these massive bills, with shit that had absolutely nothing to do with the initial intent of the bill. This shit might have even gotten away in the States, but we actually have people who are, we actually have politicians who read bills. And he got caught doing that. What else did he do? There was so much elections fraud. My former member of parliament, Dean Del Mastro, went to jail because of elections fraud in several different cases.
I did hear about that.
Yeah, that asshole was my fucking, and he was part of the he was a secretary directly under Harper and shit like that.
Really?
Yep. And then there's what was the senators? There was Brazeau, who hilariously Trudeau beat the ever-loving piss out of in a charity boxing match. But that dude was bad news. He should never have been a senator. He abused women. He was nothing but a criminal and a thug. Basically, for a lot of his life. He did some shady stuff. I can't remember what he did, but then there is the Mike Duffy bullshit, right? Where there was so much fucking like fraud, and so what he is, he was the senator for, I think, somewhere in Newfoundland or somewhere out in the Maritimes.
Right.
So he was supposed to have a residence out in the Maritimes, and he was supposed to, I forget, it was some kind of housing thing where he wasn't paying the housing, right? Or the Conservative Party was paying him money to have the housing.
Like a pay for play type of scheme type of thing.
Yeah. Either way, Duffy had to pay like a huge sum of money, and the Conservative government handed him a taxpayer money written check to pay that money, and it was supposed, that was a huge scandal. There was nothing but scandal with Harper, but he got away. Another thing he was doing, and if this would be like, this would bring down a company and have people like CEOs and shit arrested if it was if the country was a private business. But one thing he did during the financial crisis, the first thing he did during the financial crisis is he claimed that he was the one who was keeping us out of it, when actually our finance minister at the time, who later became the prime minister, Paul Martin, saw the financial crisis coming along with Jean Chrétien, and put bills in place to prevent Canada from being part of this. And Harper directly voted against these bills in Parliament. And later he was claiming that it was his leadership that got that got bullshit. But here's the thing: he sold off public he sold off fucking public assets to China.
Jesus.
So that he could increase the numbers, so it didn't look like we were in as big as trouble as we were. So he could say that he was balancing the books.
Right.
Okay, so this asshole was, if this asshole was worse than any president the United States has ever had, including Trump, because this asshole could get shit done, and he was sneaky about it. And he was,
Trump can't get anything fucking done.
Exactly.
He can't concentrate for more than 3 seconds.
He was Like,
That's his
he was
Alzheimer's.
sneaky, he was crafty.
It's the Adderall is what it is. But go on.
He was sneaky, he was crafty, he was slimy, he could get shit through. He had the charisma of a post. And that's how he got away with it.
Right.
Right? No charisma, but horribly sneaky. He's very, very intelligent. So he knows how to get shit done. It's just holy. Oh, and he put all of our eggs in the Alberta basket for oil, and then, you know, not just Alberta, but the whole country got fucked a little bit when the oil prices crashed.
Right, of course.
So, and he's of course from Alberta. So,
Of course he is.
And
Like-
send us all a link.
like this asshole is absolutely horrid. So yeah, that's just the horrible. You know, we had to deal with that asshole for 3 terms, by the way. He got a 3-peat.
Yeah, I think I remember that. I think I do.
Yeah.
Ansgar,
but not-
send us all a link. Do you want to mention
oh,
that, Ansgar?
Sure.
Yeah, breaking news just happening. Police are responding in the Bay Area to apparently somebody shot up a garlic festival. 11 people down so far.
Gaelic.
Oh,
Oh, is it Gaelic?
garlic.
No, garlic festival.
Oh, it is garlic.
Garlic.
Yeah, I read it as Gaelic.
It's a,
What?
no, it's a garlic festival. Somebody shot up
Garlic.
a garlic festival.
Police and emergency personnel late Sunday responded to reports of a shooting involving multiple victims at Gilroy Garlic Festival. Ambulance crews were told 11 people were down in an active shooting incident at Gilroy's Christmas Hill Park. The annual festival was wrapping up in its 3rd and final day when the reports came in. No further details are immediately available.
Jesus Christ.
And that's
I
from
don't know what other
NBC.
people's feelings are. I think it's too early in the reporting on this incident. This is dreadful that there's been another mass shooting.
Yeah.
But it brings me back to the idea that gun control is important.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
gun control is
I come
extremely
from a country
important.
where we have good gun control, but I think there's a lot of bad actors on both sides in the gun
Yes.
control.
Here's my take on gun control. Up until Boxing Day of 2000 and I believe it's 2005. It could be 2006. Up until that Boxing Day, I was apathetic towards gun control. It was so long ago. Hang on a minute.
Sorry, I'm just looking on Twitter real quick to see what I can find.
Okay.
Yeah, this literally happened like 15 minutes ago or something like that. So there's not much.
Yeah.
Right.
Much info on it, yeah.
I just want to make sure because this is a long
But I
time.
can tell you where it is.
Yes,
Talk about
okay.
The situation.
It
much
was-
on the
Christmas Hill
rig-
Park is a little bit south of San Jose. It's I don't know if anyone knows the California area, but it's north of Salinas, south of San Jose,
Okay.
near Santa Cruz.
So just to finish what I was saying, I used to be apathetic towards gun control. I lived in Toronto for 2 years, and on Boxing Day 2005, I was heading home for the holidays. I was in school at the time. I was heading home for the holidays, and a gang-related shooting. Okay, a gang shooting. It was over something stupid as well, like a hat broke out at the Eaton Center, so like a major public mall downtown Toronto. This is like a shooting breaking out in like Times Square or something like that in New York for a better, big landmark. A innocent, I believe she was grade 10. I think she was 16 years old. An innocent girl died in this shooting. I witnessed this. I ran like fucking hell, but I was fucking there, getting on a Greyhound to go home. Back to Peterborough to visit my family for the holidays, and Jane Sreba was hit on a city bus. Okay, she was on a TTC city bus that found itself like in the middle of this crossfire. So after that, I have become completely ban all fucking guns. and
Yeah.
make sure that they can't be brought in, make sure that ammunition can't be sold. Even if people have guns, if you make ammunition unavailable, then they can't use those guns. They will eventually go away. So that's my that is where I'm coming from when I say ban all guns. This is also my argument against fucking Antifa trying to go out and like punch Nazis and shit. Like, that's vigilantism. That's going to cause something like this eventually, because they're going to start getting shot at, and then they're going to start bringing their own guns. So that I feel
speaking
like
of
that's
which-
inevitable.
Speaking of which, I will be speaking about Antifa on Friday's live show, The History of
Okay.
Antifa. Check that out, yeah.
Cool. I'm not a ban all guns person, but I definitely want a stricter regulations on guns.
Yeah, and when the
Sure,
guns are and when the guns are banned, I don't want the police to have them either. I want guns to be strictly military only.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh, Your most important thing is getting rid of semi-automatics. and stuff like that.
right. I don't want to ban all guns. I'd be fine with a handgun ban. I don't think there's a need for handguns for civilians. There are uses for guns by hunters.
Use a bow or a crossbow.
Yeah, sure, but there's different types of game that you can take down, and
Bows and crossbows
if-
kill people too, you know.
Yes, but
Right,
it's in.
People
and if you're
kill
being
people.
attacked by a bear, you don't want a crossbow. Just saying.
Yeah.
But there are places where guns are appropriate. I think we have too many of them. I think I'm in favor of restrictions on ammunition purchases, that you can only
Yeah.
purchase so much ammunition within a certain time period. I like that. I like Cory Booker, who's running for president. He's got an amazing, I mean, amazing gun buyback program that I hope he talks about at this week's debate. Definitely look that up. I think it's phenomenal. I think it would help a lot.
That's what we did in Australia after
Right.
one of
I think-
our last big massacre was the Australian government issued a gun buyback scheme,
Right.
and thousands upon thousands of guns were handed in
Yep.
and destroyed, and then they changed the restrictions, and it's really actually hard to get a gun now, and even the police usually don't carry them anymore because it
Right.
That's what I want
I
to see.
think I think in America you'd have a much more difficult time selling that that plan. I'm
Yeah,
not
I
saying-
do too,
but
and I
I-
don't think the government would do it because of your population. It would just be horrendously expensive.
yeah.
But put restrictions on who can get guns now. So you could
Well, I
actually
think-
make it harder to get some of those guns, and if you control the
Sure.
ammunition better, then you've got less chance of these things happening.
Right. I'm in favor of background checks for all purchases. And again, it's not about restricting the total amount of ammunition. It's just you can only buy so much ammunition within a certain time period.
Right.
I think it's common sense, and I don't see anything wrong with it.
I think
Because
that
your
that'll-
problem is your Constitution right to bear arms is a problem for you guys.
Well, then
I
how-
don't necessarily think that's necessarily a problem. I think one of the big things that we have is oftentimes some of the shooters that we get are people who slipped through cracks that shouldn't be open to be slipped through.
All I
Yeah.
can say is that having a right to have bear arms is cruelty to animals.
I've got bear arms.
Yes.
Like I really think that we need a national system that for those background checks, because right now these things are handled in a very piecemeal kind of
Right.
way.
Yeah.
And there are people who shouldn't have had gun licenses, and it shouldn't have been legal for them to get a hold of guns, or they've been in situations where they have registered guns, they get in trouble for a crime that should have
Right.
gotten their guns taken away, and nothing happens. And like the
Yep.
guy that shot up that was it like a pizza joint or something? That's exactly what happened with him. There's no reason he should have had legally had his hands on guns, but he did.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And a big problem too is the way that we tend to glorify certain things
Mhm.
with gun violence,
sure.
and all that needs to change. It just needs to change. I gotta go soon too. I'm
It's
sorry.
the culture that needs to change. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're probably about a point where we can wrap this show up.
Yeah, all I want to say is that yeah, the problem with I am taking a very hard stance of it, something that was probably more traumatic to a lot of other people, but was pretty traumatic to me in life. But like the United States fucking scares me, right? I see that a lot of people are carrying handguns concealed or open, um, or even fucking all out rifles,
Right.
Yeah.
in
Open
some
carry, yeah.
terrifying cases. What really scares me is that there are places where people feel they need a gun in their house or to carry a gun around with them, uh, solely to protect themselves from other people with guns. And I'm talking about people who I would say are good people, right?
Mhm.
I talk with some of them on Twitter, and I would consider a couple of them friends, but it's the fact that people feel they need guns to protect themselves from other people with guns that it makes the United States terrible.
Yeah. No, I agree. I 100% agree.
So
I think for some, particularly in conservative areas, for some women, they see it also as a force equalizer. You know,
Right.
there's the myth that there's like rapists around every corner. So, oh, the rapist comes after me, I've got a gun, kind of thing. And it's like
Right.
not really. Vast majority of sexual assault comes from the person you know. You
yeah,
know.
well, one of them, her name is Alexis. She carries a gun because she's afraid of transphobic assholes with guns or knives.
That makes sense.
That does make, yeah.
No.
That makes more sense.
And that just utterly terrifies me more than a
See, I'm
rapist
glad
around
I
every
live in a
corner.
country where you're pretty much guaranteed that the person you meet in the street is not holding a weapon.
Same
Or
here.
It depends on where. It honestly depends on where you. The thing is, it's easy to generalize America, but I mean, I live in, let's just say, a city where you can walk 4 blocks and it's an entirely different culture.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
used to that used to be, I used to live
But there
in
is-
Toronto.
There is no gun culture in Australia. There's no thing that we think we have a right to walk around with weapons or anything like that.
We have that, but it's
Of
not
any
it's
sort.
not even the same. We kind of have that here, but it's not anywhere the same as the States. And I would say that if the United States had the same gun culture as Canada, there would be a lot less problems. And actually, a lot of the assholes who caused that probably got their guns from the Americans.
Yeah.
So I will say that I'm carrying around a cannon with me at all times. So
Anyway,
Bad joke. Bad
on
joke.
that note,
Funny.
we should probably end this show and perhaps move to the after show if we have people who want to join us.
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Ethan. Thank you, Ansgar. Do you want to show
Absolutely,
yourselves?
I love chatting with you.
Yeah, we love having you. Do
Yep.
you want to show yourself, Ethan?
What'd you say?
Kill yourself.
Oh,
wanna
show
show
myself. Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
not kill yourself. Show yourself.
Did you say shoot yourself? I mean,
I
Okay.
said,
Show.
dramatic way to get views, Jenny.
quote Ozzy. I said,
We might get the channel banned if he does it live.
to quote Ozzy, I said, enjoy life, not end your life.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so you can find me youtube.com/progressive liberal. I do politics stuff, activism. I actually have 2 videos on abortion, which we talked about a lot tonight. Go watch those. You can find me on Twitter, ProLibShow. I tweet far too much. My wife yelled at me about it today. I don't care. And I do a blog now every weekday morning on my Patreon. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. So check it out. And that's me.
I also want to say
what's your
that our
next show?
first video was on abortion with Caitlin Chloe. Go watch it.
What's your next thing, Ethan?
I am working. That's why I got to go, because I got to finish a video tonight on Medicare for All.
Oh, I
I'm
like
talking
that.
about the Medicare for All 2019 bill and what it says, how it would work, and the proposals on how to pay for it. And I'm also recording tonight my reaction to the Star Trek Picard trailer. So
Okay.
a little bit of a dichotomy.
awesome! Looking forward to that one. That'll be brilliant. And
And
Ansgar,
that's why I got the hat. You know, that's what it's for.
Let's see. So you can the best thing to do is follow me on both well, pretty much on Twitter. You can follow me and my wife. Just look for my name, Ansgar T. Odinson, or my wife, Growly Bite Bite, probably easier to remember.
Okay. That's awesome.
She co-writes the graphic novel we're working on together. I do all the art. I post a ton of art. Usually post at least one new piece every week. Updates, and then I tweet about random politics and stuff. You can also search my name on YouTube. I used to do more like art and culture videos, but now pretty much we just do a weekly podcast where we talk about nerdy stuff and things like that.
cool.
Okay.
Awesome. I think everyone in chat knows how to find May and I. Links will be in the description. Please, everybody, follow and check out everybody who's been on today, including the people who've already left, like Navadia, Shannon Q, and Godless Cranium, because they are all awesome as well. There will be links in the description, won't there, May?
Yep.
Some of my favorite people.
I'll try to make sure I get that done.
Yeah.
One other thing.
so
One
yeah.
other thing before I forget. I'm sorry. My channel just passed 250 subs, so Wednesday night's live show will be our 250 sub celebration, and I'm trying to get
Oh, nice.
a very special guest to come on. So
Nice.
Cool.
trying to. We'll see. We'll see.
Cool.
Oh, I no, it's a secret. It's a secret. They have agreed
I
in
didn't ask you if
principle.
it was. That's cool.
Yeah. Yes. So we'll see. But
So
the
awesome.
show will definitely be Wednesday night, 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 East.
10:30.
So check
Okay.
me out.
So mid-morning for me.
Yes. Yes.
Cool. Awesome. So, okay. Thank you, guys. It's been an awesome show. We'll catch you in the after show if you're hanging around, and we're out.
Thanks, everybody.
Peace.
Have a good one, eh?